Hello there, Booktube. I was watching some bookish videos, and it got me thinking about something. The videos were about book length. As you can tell by the title, that's what I'm discussing here. Are books too long or too big? Are there too many pages, too many words in these things? I think it's an interesting topic to go over, and I've got a couple of visual aids. Now, recently, I have been reading Middlemarch, which I have here. It's a pretty big, chunky book. Now, I've been reading this as part of the Game of Tomes thing that Emmy and Caroline are doing on Booktube. It's a fun idea to actually compel us to read these big tomes. The first one that they had on their list was the Count of Monte Cristo, which I have in the same edition, the same set. These are the cloth-bound Penguin editions. Yeah, Penguin. And I have another one here, just as another visual aid, and that is Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, which I am planning to buddy read with someone in September this year. There's a bend in one of the pages there. Oh well, shit happens. Right, anyway. They're all massive books. And, I mean, War and Peace is the preeminent massive book. It's inches wide, and this is not small. This is not overly small. It's not large text either. It's quite small print by comparison to the average paperback. So there's a lot of words in this. Same with the others. But do books need to be that? And I've got as a visual aid from the same set, so that we can be specific about this. I have this one. This is Animal Farm by George Orwell. And I'm fairly sure that there's more than just Animal Farm in here. If we have a little look, we have Animal Farm, yeah, and then there's appendices. So there's basically notes on this that explains further. Like a good fifth of this book is actually like essays and notes on the text, which is nice to have. It's nice to have a little bit extra, because this is a very short book. This is less than 30,000 words. This is a novella. The thing is, Animal Farm is famous, and it's famous for a good reason. It is a very good depiction of political issues, told through allegory, and with a decent character that last the test of time. So, if you can do that with this size book, why does Leo Tolstoy need this size book to tell a story of high society life during the Napoleonic Wars? Why exactly does George Eliot need so many pages to tell what is literally provincial life in a small town in Britain over the space of 3 years, where a few people get married? This is way bigger than it needs to be. Now, I'm reading this. I'm enjoying it. It's not bad. It's also boring. And that's something that people won't say. This is supposed to be the great British novel. Like, possibly one of the best novels ever written, according to many. If you look online, you'll see that there are huge swaths of people who say that George Eliot's Middlemarch is not only a great British novel, but may well be one of the greatest novels ever written. It is just a soap opera. That's all it is. This is the mid-1800s equivalent of episodes of Coronation Street. It's a soap opera in book form. That's all it is. I know, I'm reading it. It's a soap opera. Are there weddings? Sure. Are there interesting character dynamics? Yes. Is there maybe a murder or two? or possibly a serious event happening. Does something go wrong? Does a house set on fire? Maybe. Like, that kind of thing could happen. And that would be, an interesting dynamic in the story. But do you need this many pages to tell it? I'm not convinced you do. The thing is this just a thing that classics, that older books, suffer from? No. Modern books are getting longer and longer. And most of the books that I read are progressively getting longer now. A great example, even books that people don't consider to be particularly difficult, these are considered a good entry into modern adult fantasy, and that is the Mistborn trilogy. None of these books are small. These are long books. Like, let's take The Final Empire out, the first book, and get it out the box. If I can get it out the damn box. Come on, get out. This is why I hate these boxes. If you can't get the damn books out.
Two hours later.
See, people complained when I took a knife to the box for the Gentleman Bastard series, because they said that, it looks nice in the display box. Yeah, but you can't read the damn things because you can't get them.
One eternity later.
How does anyone else get the bloody box out of these fucking things? Seriously! There! It's fucking open! Bloody hell! Anyway. This is 643 pages long. That's entirely too many pages. I guarantee that story does not need 643 pages to be told. They're all around the same size, so that means the Mistborn trilogy is about 50% larger than either of these two giants. Does it need to be that big? Could that story not have been told in a smaller form? Now, I'm not sure. Because most of the books that I really enjoy, I will find I'm reading them, I'm enjoying them. I don't want them to end. I read the Stormlight Archive. They're over 1,000 pages long each. They're massive books. And, yeah, I didn't really want them to end. The first one, it is 900 pages of meandering nonsense. Like, The Way of Kings could have been told in a book half the size, but I was enjoying just sitting with the book. I was enjoying just reading the book. So, is the length justified? I haven't decided yet. What I am going to do is I'm going to sit and I'm going to have a little read. I'm tempted to read Mistborn just because I managed to get out the fucking box. But no, I've got Animal Farm here. And even if we ignore the essays, let's ignore the essays. It is 10 chapters long and it is 102 pages. I'm going to sit and read this right now. And then I'm going to talk about it and we can have a little review of Animal Farm. I can't do that with any of these books, because there's no way I could sit there and just read it now, and then make a video. Like, I know I can sit and read this, and in 2 hours' time, I'll have a review ready. Because that's how long it's going to take. Whereas, this, I'd still be here next week. So, there's a sense of sunk cost. When you're reading these huge books, are you reading because you want to know what happens next? Or are you reading because you're already 400 pages into a 1,000-page tome and you could have read 2 other books, but you've read less than half of this one and you really, really should finish it? Like, I'm less than 300 pages into Middlemarch at the moment. I know I'm supposed to be reading it for March. But I'm less than 300 pages into Middlemarch. I will probably have it finished by the end of the month, because I can read around 100 pages a night comfortably without it being an issue. And it's about 900 pages, so there's about 6 days worth there. I've got a week to read it in. I'm fine. But I'm going to have to read it every day. Maybe I'm not in a mood to read provincial soap opera life every day for a week. For 2 hours every day. Maybe that's just not what I want to do with my time. There are other things I could do. There are TV shows I could watch. There are games I could play. There's events I could be going to. People I could be spending time with. The time sink that is massive books is much bigger than people let on. And that time sink goes through to other areas. Like, a film is between 2 and 3 hours long. That means that the average film is about the same commitment as this book. That's manageable. That's something you can sit and watch. TV shows are even less. Usually less than an hour, often 40, 45 minutes. Even if we take an entire season of a TV show, an entire TV season, if we assume American TV shows, around 45 minutes an episode, around 20 episodes per season. I know it's usually slightly less minutes, slightly more episodes, but it'll all average out. So we've got, 900 minutes there. Because 45 minutes per episode, 20 episodes, 900 minutes. So that's 15 hours. 15 hours. That's enough to be able to read 2 average-sized books. It's not enough time to read this. This will take you longer than watching an entire season of How I Met Your Mother or The Office or something like that. Now, that's a sitcom. You might say that's low effort. This is very much, like with Middlemarch, soap opera-y. It's one of those where a lot of these classics, they were the soap operas of their day. And they feel very much like it to read. Some of them have more depth to them. Some of them are more intricate and more delicate in the way they approach topics. But I think a lot of people undervalue the way some soap operas approach modern topics. You'd be surprised how complex and how nuanced certain storylines in, for example, Coronation Street. It's the one I know because my mum used to watch it. I think she still does. But some of the storylines they tackled on that were really well done. It's genuinely good TV. Not great TV, but good TV. It's good every day. You can sit and enjoy it. And yet it's not treated like Middlemarch or The Count of Monte Cristo is. It's not being preserved. There's thousands of episodes of these soap operas, and we just let them go by. They're considered consumable and just thrown away. I wonder if it was as easy to write books and publish books in the mid-1800s, would they have been thrown out the same way we throw out episodes of Coronation Street? Because Coronation Street is not one thing. It's many, many episodes, but they're all continuous, strung together. And they're one continuous, never-ending narrative. Right? It is one complete thing that doesn't really have a beginning, doesn't really have an end, but you could spend hours and hours on. Would that be preserved if it was one of the only 5 TV shows we ever get? Would we be compiling them together and treating them like they're something special? I wonder. There's a famous quote that I think applies here, and that is, perfection is not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away. I think that's apt when we consider books. I say that as a fan of high fantasy and sci-fi. Books that are massive, and yet, when I think about one of the most influential authors, I think about Lovecraft. Green Book on that top shelf. That contains the vast majority of everything he ever wrote. I've got multiple collections of Lovecraft, I've got about 4 I think. And they all contain the same books. You can collect all of Lovecraft's works into one book. And it's not even the largest book on my shelf, not by far. So if everything he wrote can all be contained down, if the Call of Cthulhu, one of the most famous cosmic horror stories, can be told in only 11,000 words, are we letting authors get away with bloviating and making endless, long, turgid works that could easily be half or even less of their current length. I wonder how many of these stories could be abridged down to 200 to 300 pages. I know there's abridged versions of the Count of Monte Cristo, and people always say, don't read the abridged version, it ruins it. Read the complete version. I'm not so sure. I'm tempted to get the abridged version so I can compare and see whether or not I think the main crux of the story is actually preserved in the abridged. Because I do think books are getting too long now. But at the same time, almost all of my favourite books are massive. So are they really too long? Is Mistborn one book? It's 3 books, but is it really? It's one story. How many fantasy and sci-fi stories now are series? Trilogies are commonplace. People think, oh, well, The Hunger Games is a standard-sized book. Yeah, but it's not really one book, is it? It's 3. To actually get to the end of The Hunger Games, you need to read The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. And if you combine them all together, it's over 300,000 words. And that makes it about the same length as this. So, how long do our stories need to be? I'll be interested to hear what you guys are going to say. Until my next video, thanks for watching. And I look forward to the conversations in the comments. Bye.